Friends, hello everyone. My name is Panasyuk, and in search of new adventures, I went to live on a completely uninhabited island, which I previously named Shark Island. To test myself in survival conditions, and this is my 8th day on the uninhabited island. At dawn, early in the morning, I wake up without an alarm clock. I take my fishing gear and head to the corner to try to catch a sea monster near the coral reef. Well, the first cast the first signs of bites. The fish just nibbled nearby but missed the bait. I was lucky that early in the morning the low tide phase coincided with dawn. And that means when the sun is just rising above the horizon, the water level is very low, and I have the opportunity to wade to the edge, where there is a great depth, and try to catch fish there. During low tide, the place where the strong current becomes much more pronounced. And it is in such currents that the big predator hunts. I don't know if you could see it or not. I will change the location. I need to change the place. Maybe there will be active fish there. During fishing, I only use the most powerful spinning rod and the largest baits in the hope of catching a real sea monster. Another turtle swam up, but this one is small. The tail is sticking out and the head is underwater. So, go swim away, don't disturb my fishing. Also, several times a small sea turtle swam up to me. Perhaps it is a friend of the big turtle Natasha who roams my island. I don't know if you could see it or not. The turtle swam right to my feet, but it is small. I made cast after cast. On the surface of the water I saw predator activity, but it was very small and a bit afraid to attack my big bait. I fished for several hours. And when the tide phase began, I took my spinning rod and headed back to the camp. Alright, time to get out. Wow! The water has already accumulated. Up to the waist. I want to climb the mountain. To the elevation. Try to catch at least some signal. I climbed the mountain, friends. To the elevation. Wanted to try to catch at least some mobile signal to text home that I am alive and well. Everything is fine. Because my loved ones are still worried. I haven't been in touch for a long time. But as you can see, I don't know if you could see it or not. There are no signs of connection here. Even mobile, not to mention texting over the internet. Well, nothing. Everyone knows everything will be all right. How beautiful it is here. When the sun comes out, I will definitely fly the drone. I will show you the island, fly over the ocean. Look where the coral reef cliff is. Sometimes a big fish swims along this coral reef, sometimes a shark. sometimes a dolphin. Once I saw a sea cow, or its variety. In general, I will definitely fly. Take a look. When I took off on the drone, I decided to fly to the fishing corner where I previously caught a big shark. Wow. I was flying over the water and suddenly I saw a familiar silhouette. I lowered the altitude and looked into the water. It was a big reef shark. And something tells me, friends, that this is the same shark I managed to catch a few days ago. It returned to its place and still guards this coral reef. I was very glad to see that this shark is okay. And it continues to hunt and guard this shark island. My survival strategy on the island was very simple. Early in the morning, when the fishing probability is the best, I use big baits in the hope of catching a monster. But if luck did not smile on me during fishing, I took my diving gear and dived underwater to catch myself food. Today the water was a bit cooler. And I also noticed that the underwater current had intensified. On the one hand, this is good. There will be more fish. But on the other hand, you need to be careful and follow safety rules. I hid behind the coral reef and tried to wait as motionless as possible for my prey. The fish stayed at the very bottom under the big stones and closer to the coral reef. So I took a big breath, held my breath and dived to the very bottom, lay on my stomach on the coral reef, and held on with one hand so as not to float up, lay motionless and waited for the fish to swim up to the coral reef. And I could catch it. In front of me was a whole school of small fish. And somewhere in the distance, I noticed a pretty good parrotfish. I waited for the moment and took a shot. I managed to hit the fish. Very good size. I was very happy that today I would not have to collect crabs. And I could cook juicy fish on the fire and have a good meal. I took out a knife and immediately put the fish to sleep so that it would attract less attention from sharks. Immediately I attach my catch to the rescue buoy, so the fish is further away from me. And in case the smell of fish attracts a shark and it wants to take my catch, the shark will not harm me in any way. I always keep my catch at a safe distance, far from myself. After catching fish, I periodically looked around during the hunt. I already know well that an injured fish instantly attracts the attention of sharks. I understood that even if I did not see it, I was already under the watchful eye of a predator. When I swam to a new place, I saw a very strange mollusk underwater. On one side, it was a purely white, beautiful shell, but it was covered with some black coating on top. And when I touched it, this coating opened up. And inside was a very beautiful white pearl-colored shell. This is a living mollusk, so I will not take it with me. So friends, during the underwater hunt, I managed to catch 3 pretty good fish. 2 I will now cook on the fire and eat. And I will use 1 as bait in a crab trap. A normal catch. There will be something to eat. Such is the catch. If you think I did well and coped with my task, then put a big like under this video. In order to cook my fish, I first need to get a fire. But during survival, this is a very difficult mission. I have neither flint nor matches nor a lighter. So, to get a fire, I will use a wooden stick. First, I will cut a small piece of dry coconut husk. The coconut husk will serve me as tinder. Well, to get the fire, I will need 2 wooden fragments. One will be the base in which I will drill the hole. And the second wooden fragment is such a straight stick that I will rotate with my hands until I can start a fire. First, the stick needs to be well fitted to the base. Slowly rotate, so that both wooden elements fit perfectly together. Then I put the coconut husk under the wooden base, and there I will get the coal. I rotate the stick. I heat the socket. And as soon as I see the first smoke, this is a signal that I need to speed up. This is the first sign that both wooden fragments are perfectly fitted. The wood has dried and is ready to produce fire. But no one said it would be very easy. Let's try a second time. Let's do it this way. If I manage to start a fire with a stick, you share this video with your friends. I insert the stick into the wooden base and start rotating. Wooden shavings are formed, and they fall on the coconut husk. As soon as I see smoke, I immediately speed up and accelerate. On one side, oxygen comes in, and the wooden shavings from the friction begin to ignite. Now you need to give a small pause. The coal needs to breathe air. I remove the wooden base to the side and blow the small formed coal in the coconut husk. The coal ignites. And now I transfer it to dry grass and blow in different directions. Well, friends, that's how, using 2 wooden fragments without matches and a lighter, I managed to get a fire. With each new video, with each new survival, I gain new experience. And such an important mission as getting a fire is no longer so difficult. I hope no one doubted that I would manage to start a fire with a stick. Friends, I tried very hard to film for you in one shot, without cuts, from the beginning of the process to the end, from 2 different angles so you can see how it actually works. That's why I think you can give this video a like. While the fire is getting going, I need to clean the fish. And now I'll show you a fish that you definitely haven't seen before. Look at its normal mouth. Hop. And it instantly becomes long. You can see that this is a coral fish. And with the help of such an extendable mouth, it collects its food from very hard to reach places. Just look at this. The mouth turns into an extendable tube. Who knows what this fish is called? Write to me in the comments under the video. I remember the first episode from the first Shark Island, where I cheated a little to check the couch experts. And there were a lot of them. Namely, I cooked the fish in the first episode, but I showed how it was caught later, and thereby gave the opportunity to let their imagination run wild in the comments under the video. So I liked that many wrote to me that the fish was frozen. In fact, it wasn't the sound of the boat, but the generators. I had a fridge behind the palm tree. Friends, look, when the fish lay literally a little in the sun, even without water it stiffens, as you can see. See? It's stiff. It no longer bends. The fish was just caught, literally 10 minutes ago. It just lay on the sand and stiffened. So when you see a stiff fish in a hot climate, it doesn't mean it's frozen. That happens. I took a knife and cleaned the fish. I'll leave the head and guts and use them as bait for crabs. I'll take 2 wooden sticks and with the help of a knife make 2 skewers. Done. And now I put my catch on these sticks. One fish and the other. The third fish went to feed the crabs. Now the most difficult part remains, to wait for the catch to cook. The fire has flared up and good coals have formed. The fish was smoked in the smoke. When I fry fish over an open fire, I don't clean the fish from the top. This will be an additional protective shell from the open flame. The fish scales will burn on the fire, but the meat inside will bake perfectly, and it will remain just as juicy. I like that on this uninhabited island, there is very varied terrain. There are mountains and open spaces. There is a tropical forest and mangrove thickets. There is a calm bay. On one side it is shallow and there is a very beautiful coral reef, and on the other side there are big waves, a strong current and great depth. The diversity of this island gives me the opportunity to use my ingenuity and imagination, and to demonstrate my skills and also gain new experience. After 15 minutes, my fish was ready. I take it off the fire. Look, here's what I was talking about. The fish shell burned and is very easy to remove. And underneath is perfectly cooked meat, not a bit burnt and very juicy. Because when you cook fish uncleaned on top, all the fish juice stays inside. It doesn't burn out on the open fire. The fish cooked perfectly. The fish cooked perfectly. The meat was very juicy and even a little salty. The parrotfish tasted very similar. to our carp, quite fatty meat. And the second fish, with the extendable mouth, tasted more like our perch, leaner meat. This catch was enough to have a good snack. Well, in the evening, as usual, I made a fire and returned to the camp to rest. If you like this video, only in that case, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the continuation. As soon as this episode gets 20,000 likes, I'll immediately publish the continuation. Goodbye, everyone.